Rod Diggs' story reads like something out of a crime novel, but it's all real. Every brutal, calculated, and relentless part of it. Ronald Herron, better known as Rod Diggs, wasn't just another street-level hustler trying to make a name for himself. He was a full-blown force in the Brooklyn underworld, moving with a level of strategy, brutality, and paranoia that made him one of the most feared figures in the city. What really set him apart wasn't just the violence or the drug empire he built. It was the fact that he was willing to go to extremes most people wouldn't even consider. One of the wildest stories tied to Diggs is how he allegedly disguised himself as a woman to get close to his enemies before taking them out. Wigs, makeup, lipstick, the whole thing. While most street legends stop at hearsay, this wasn't just some myth passed around the block. Court records and testimonies from former associates actually backed up the claim. In fact, one of his own people testified that Diggs had not only ordered his hitters to use this disguise method, but had done it himself at least once. But that was just one layer of his ruthless nature. Diggs was deeply embedded in Brooklyn's gang scene, running the murderous Mad Dogs, MD, a violent faction of the Bloods. His crew wasn't just selling drugs. They were enforcing their control over entire neighborhoods, extorting, robbing, and eliminating anyone who got in their way. If you crossed Diggs, you didn't just disappear, you became an example. His criminal career started early. Growing up in the Gowanus Projects, an area that was nothing like the gentrified Brooklyn you see today, Diggs was in and out of correctional facilities before he even hit adulthood. He was known for retaliation, and he made sure people knew he wasn't the type to let things slide. Back in 2000, after he got shot in the leg over a drug debt, he wasted no time plotting revenge. While still recovering in Kings County Hospital, he orchestrated the murder of the guy who shot him. His own cousins carried it out. He even rapped about it later, bragging, "I don't respect the shooter because he shot me in the legs. 2 days later, Lil Homie was dead. If he was smart, he would have shot me in the head. Cause I can get you shot from a hospital bed."
If he was smart, he would have shot me in the head, cause I could get you shot from a hospital bed.
And that was just the beginning. In 2001, he was charged with the murder of Frederick Brooks, a rival dealer who was executed in cold blood inside a Brooklyn lobby. Shot multiple times in the face, neck, back, and head, Brooks bled out where he stood. Diggs and his crew tried to cover their tracks, disposing of the murder weapon, but it didn't take long for police to catch up. The case should have been open and shut. The prosecution had two key witnesses who had given recorded statements to the DA, identifying Diggs as the shooter. They even picked him out of a lineup. But when the trial came, both witnesses changed their stories, saying they had been threatened. One witness saw Diggs arguing with Brooks before following him into the lobby and shooting him, but he refused to directly name him in court. Another witness outright refused to testify out of fear. Diggs walked away from the murder charge acquitted, later bragging about how he beat the body. But the streets never forget, and neither do the feds. By the mid-2000s, Diggs had fully established his crew as one of the dominant forces in Brooklyn. His base of operations at 423 Baltic Street became known as a headquarters for crime, with Diggs overseeing everything from drug trafficking to contract killings. Even when he got locked up on a drug charge, he still ran his operation from behind bars. When he was released in 2007, instead of slowing down, he expanded. He wasn't just a gangster, he was building an empire. But the streets don't stay quiet for long. In 2007, a local dealer, known in court papers as John Doe, was caught selling crack in Diggs' territory. Diggs didn't just scare him off, he had two of his men rob him in a lobby at gunpoint. The guy tried to come back a few months later and asked for permission to sell. Diggs let him, but only under one condition. He had to buy directly from him. What started as a robbery turned into another extension of Diggs' business. Things escalated again in 2008 when a guy named Richard Russo made the mistake of talking recklessly about Diggs' authority in the neighborhood. That was all it took. A few days later, Diggs personally confronted Russo in the same lobby where his crew sold drugs, forced him into an elevator, and executed him point blank. Then came Kendall Robinson, aka Smurf, a known shooter who was causing chaos in Diggs' territory. That kind of instability was bad for business. So Diggs put the word out, and his men tracked Robinson down. On September 13, 2008, Robinson was shot in front of 185 Nevin Street. He survived, but the message was clear. Diggs controlled the streets. But even killers make mistakes. By 2009, Diggs was feeling untouchable. His music career was starting to take off, and he was featured on Waka Flocka's Flockavelli album alongside Uncle Murda and the Murder Team. He rapped openly about his crimes, even name-dropping his own set, MMD. In one track, he basically laid out how he got away with murder. If you want to smoke a man on the Ave, then go and beat the body with an 18B. 18B refers to court-appointed lawyers used by defendants who can't afford private attorneys. Diggs was basically saying, if you know how to play the system, you can walk. But the feds had been watching. In October 2010, NYPD and U.S. Marshals finally made their move. They waited for Diggs to step out of Club Amnesia in Manhattan and arrested him on the spot.
You all rocking the MMV chain.
Why wouldn't I be?
What is that? For the people who don't know.
Well, MMB, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's the guys, man. Like, this my mother brothers, you heard? This is like how you wear memberships jacket.
Yeah.
Everybody can't get these, you heard? There's a certain amount of morals and principles you gotta have to have this. Like, that's what, you know, that's the standard we trying to have with this, you know what I'm saying? It has nothing to do, it ain't gotta be criminal and all that shit.
Right.
It's values, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Is that the Murder's Mad Dog joint?
what's that? That's a gang. Is it? I don't know.
MMB. I thought that was
my mother brothers.
Oh, I thought it was I thought it was that Rod Diggs.
Nah, that's my guys. Free Rod Diggs. Now, see, look, that came. Look, God did that, yeah.
Right.
And I just had put some on my story saying free Rod, man, free tonight, yeah. Free Rod Diggs, free all the wrongfully convicted real ones. You heard me?
Mm-hmm.
Nah, for real, man. A lot of dudes got a bad deal. You know what I'm saying? On like, say, officers that just had a harm. You know how you growing up in certain neighborhoods? That one officer used to violate, couldn't catch nobody.
Right.
Now he's in position 20 years later, and he got the power.
Right.
So now he got a hard on for one dude and trying to just put everything on you. Like, that's how rap it be shit like that,
For
bro.
real?
Yeah, niggas is grown. You know, when you have been in jail and you grow and now you want to do other things, the real ones do. You know what I'm saying? The ones that really put it in, like, and know what this shit in for. Like, niggas don't want to do the same thing. You got the dudes that don't mind, you heard? Like, for real. And if you got a chance to do something different, you know what I'm saying, and push the world forward, like, why keep going backwards? You know what I'm saying? And that's what a lot of dudes do. They come home and want to talk about the one nigga they knocked out and all that. Because the ones that's really putting on and doing shit, they don't want to talk about that. Because, you know, you broke a lot of friendships. Like, you did a lot of shit that you had to do. And a lot of people still suffering, like a lot of the real comrades. So you don't really want to, you know what I mean? I feel like the ones that glorify that shit, those be the ones that ain't been there, bro. Like,
Nah, I'm not
like, you know what
right.
I'm saying? Like,
No, I wanted to kind of start off with the prison thing.
no, we have to. And I'm
'Cause,
glad you
like,
did, because
right.
I want, you know, Free Rod Diggs, that came out, yeah?
Right, and you did 15, so I think that's a long stretch. So I wanted to like.
Man, we got, right, that's 3 movies and shit I've been through, man. You know what I'm saying? That's just prison alone. You heard?
Right.
So my life, Game of Thrones long, like, with the new versions, you heard? The dragon shit too, House of Dragons, all that shit. Then we gonna add some more shit, nigga. That's after Boys in the Hood and all that, you heard? And Menace, and we can go years, we can go every year. I'll tell you 1,000 real stories, nigga. Our life ain't no fake shit, man. That's one thing, and it's just beautiful.
At first, it seemed like another charge he'd skate through. But this time, things were different. By 2012, the government had built a massive RICO case against him, tying him to 23 counts, including racketeering, multiple murders, attempted murder, robbery, and drug trafficking. Witnesses who once feared him started flipping. Even his own driver testified, revealing details about how Diggs had once confronted Jim Jones at a strip club after being kicked out of a studio session. In 2014, the verdict came down. The death penalty had been considered but was ultimately taken off the table. Instead, Diggs was sentenced to 12 life sentences plus 105 years. His response, cold and defiant. "You can sentence me to 10 life sentences. I'm only going to die one time. God have mercy on us all." The judge wasn't moved. In fact, he granted his wish and added 10 more life sentences, just to make sure Diggs never saw daylight again. Now he sits in ADX Florence, the most secure prison in the country, locked away alongside terrorists, cartel leaders, and the worst of the worst.
Interview a former warden and a former inmate tell us death is easier than life at the federal supermax.
As isolated as the prisoners who call it home. The prison, called ADX Florence, is a tomb for the living.
To me, it's life after death. The behaviors are good, though. It's pretty much a 23-hour a day in the cell, 1 hour outside. And even outside, it's not a walk in the park. It's a caged environment.
Inmates there spend 23 hours a day in solitary confinement in 7 by 12-foot concrete cells with only a 4-inch wide window that barely lets in light. Even their 1 hour of recreation is just time spent in another cage, surrounded by towering walls. Rod Diggs, once one of the most feared men in Brooklyn, is now buried alive in a prison designed to break even the hardest criminals.
By the way, free Rod Diggs.
Free Rod Diggs, man. Yeah. I told you one time I was in Switzerland. Why you say that?
Well, because I see some interviews about how you heard Rod Diggs and
oh yeah, we was in Switzerland and
overseas.
I heard Rod Diggs and yeah, because you know murder has a nice following overseas.
Yeah,
and as well as a lot of artists. And you know, one day we was in front of a nice hotel and a car pull up, and it was some white boy and he was playing Rod Diggs and Murder.
No crew, no power, no second chances, just an eternity of cold steel and concrete.